This video has been a struggle to make for multiple reasons. Number one, these are a lot of books, and you probably already know taking a thumbnail with that many books is a bit difficult. I'm taking a thumbnail! Number two is I have a huge problem with hoarding books and just keeping them for the sake of keeping them. But I decided to be really brutal with this book Unhaul, the first on my channel, by the way, and just get rid of books even if I like them. Just if I don't like them enough or I don't want the next book in the series, I'll just get rid of it. And number three, today is Thursday when I'm recording this, and my typical uploading date is Friday, and I've actually already recorded this video, but then I lost or accidentally deleted. I'm not even sure anymore. So I just kind of threw on the same shirt that I was wearing that day and kind of rearranged everything and took the books out from where I'd put them away, you know, and just unpacked everything and rearranged everything to try to make it seem like I recorded this in one try. And here I have more than 25 books, or I would have, but the books that would be here I've already reviewed, or I reviewed them in the files that weren't lost, so it already happened, or it hasn't happened yet.
Hasn't happened yet.
I don't know, the timeline gets confusing, but let's move on to the video. Let's just try to make this normal. The first book is Maze Runner, a beloved book in the booktube community. This book has a lot of influence, and I think it should be respected for that. I remember liking it maybe at one point a long time ago, but I recently gave it a second try, and it is just not for me. The plot somehow manages to be boring despite having a lot of cool mystery to it, and the main character, whose name I can't even remember anymore, has about like the personality of a bed of moss, and the other characters just seem cliche or just unlikable or bland. And from what I've heard from the next books in the series, the plot never really goes anywhere. The mystery is never explained in a satisfying way. So it's just not worth my money to buy the next books. Buy the next book. I said that right the first time. Grandma's Attic, book 1 and 2. I really don't like that they don't match, but that's not why I'm getting rid of them. As much as I love these books and you loved them when I was younger, I think they're great for teaching lessons to kids. It's basically about a grandma telling stories when she was growing up to her granddaughter and all that funny stuff. And it's cute, but I don't feel need to own this anymore. 2 Christian nonfiction books. Balancing the Christian Life and Know Why You Believe. I'm getting rid of these because I later got newer, better ones that explain the same topics in more clear ways to me, and these are old. I received them for free, and I don't really feel the need to have multiple books on the same topics. Also, let me know if you want a separate whole video on my Christian nonfiction books. One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. This is a thriller that I read in December for the first time, and I would say it's worth the hype, but as much as I love the premise and it just seemed like something that was so for me, like the murder mystery aspect, it kind of lost its charm halfway through. I don't even know myself what happened. The different POVs, the way they switched, just started to get confusing. The mystery got less and less interesting to me, and I hated the endings. The First 4 Years by Laura Ingalls Wilder. This is one of the books in the Little House on the Prairie series. I used to have the whole thing, but my collection has slowly been coming down, either because I get rid of the books or I lose them when I move, or anyways, this one is the one I like least. I just think it's really boring. I just want to keep my favorites in the series instead of having the whole series. Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. This is one of those books that I've had on my shelf for 2 years, without ever reading it, and I finally got around to it, and I will say it is worth the hype. I understand why people have been screaming about this book since 2012. It deserves its spot. Why am I getting rid of it? I think I just don't like it enough. I really, really love the psychological aspect of it. I liked how it went from overhyped marriage drama to battle of wits, you know, and I keep questioning the main character. I keep questioning who's the bad guy, who's the good guy. I would say it deserves its spot, but I just don't want it anymore. The Garbage King by Elizabeth Laird. You already know how much I hate this book. It was a DNF, the first DNF of a long time. When I read it in summer, I couldn't even get through it. It was so boring. The premise of kids in Ethiopia from different backgrounds, it was very realistic, and how they all got homeless and stuff was great to see that, and I really wish the premise had been carried out better, but I think it's the writing style and the pacing that got me. Halfway through the book, and I was questioning why I was still reading. I was questioning, like, what's gonna happen? Is the plot gonna go anywhere? Dearly Devoted Dexter, when I got this, I didn't know it was the second book in the series, and as much as I enjoyed it, I don't see myself buying the rest of the series anytime soon. I'll just watch the TV show. Great writing style, great book. I would recommend it. The first book, maybe. A Wrinkle in Time. This is a classic that I desperately, desperately wanted to enjoy, but I think it's the writing style that got me. The premise itself and how much this book has influenced the sci-fi and fantasy genre, like considering how long ago it was written, is great. And I think that's commendable, and I don't blame anybody for liking this, but I hated the characters. They didn't seem like real people. I just liked the graphic novel better. Jedi Academy. This is a book I really liked when I was a bit younger. I gave it to my brother, and my brother finished it, and my brother gave it back to me, and I read it over and over and over again. I still have a weakness for this journal type thing, and I really respect the artist, Jeffrey Brown. I like his other stuff. It's just wholesome. It's wholesome. Red Queen, a book that is hyped. Again, another really hyped up book, but it is not deserving of the hype. It is an average fantasy at best. The main character is not bad, but pretty annoying and insufferable at times, and the whole love triangle thing, not for me. The premise itself, the fantasy elements, is just really cool, but I don't like it enough to buy the next book in the series, and tons of people have said that it only gets worse, and that the things I liked in this book are not in the next books. So if you like fantasy, if you like superpower stuff, if you like royal stuff, which I do, I like all of that, then check it out, give it a chance, but don't expect anything great. Next up, we have some pretty cheap old books I got for 80 cents each at a garage sale. Two of which are good, one of which is so obviously terribly bad. I love Nancy Drew, anything related to Nancy Drew. These are all enjoyable summer reads, like one-offs. I would not mind keeping them, but I already said I'm gonna be brutal. If I don't need them, I'll get rid of them, and someone else will enjoy them. As for this, just look at the cover. It's called Stephenie. It was written in the 80s. It looks like it was written in the 80s, and it is trash. I think I got this for the same reason that people walk into movies at the theater that they know are bad movies. It's because they want to get a good laugh out of it, and I couldn't even get a good laugh out of this. I couldn't even finish it. I have no desire to finish it. I want it off of my bookshelf. Artemis Fowl by Eoin Colfer is a good book, and I like the protagonist. I like the story. And I do not at all mean to say that just because something is middle grade, I'm not gonna like it, but this felt middle grade to me, and although like I said, I enjoyed the plot, the climax, the battles, it was all fun, and I'm kind of excited to see it adapted into a movie by Disney. I don't know if that's actually gonna happen, but I think it is. I don't know. I don't like it enough to keep it. The writing style does benefit it, but it's a series. It's the first book in a series, and if I don't feel the need to buy the rest, then I don't need to keep number one. I also have this drawing book, Draw Manga Now, by an artist that I still respect, Christopher Hart, but I got this way back when I was still learning how to draw, and I'm not into this style anymore. I don't know why I've kept it this long, probably my hoarder problem. Roses for Mama. Not much to say. I got it for free because it looked kind of interesting, and then I just never read it. So obviously I'm not interested. I have nothing to say about this. I never got around to it. Yagan. The Babysitters Club graphic novel series by Raina Telgemeier, an artist I love and respect. I learned how to draw from looking at panels of this series, the Babysitters Club adaptation, where the original author and the artist cooperated to make these. And I think that book 5 and 6, which I also have the originals of, were also adapted by different artists, but they're beloved. I love them, and I didn't want to get rid of them. When I first got these books, I was younger than the characters, who are in 7th grade, I think, and now I'm much older than these characters, and their problems don't seem all that consequential to me anymore. So it's just the plot, the characters that make me feel like I've grown out of it, but I still like the art, and these books still mean a lot to me because of just how much they helped me in my art journey and my story writing journey. I think it's time to just move on from these books, and I hope that the person I give them to, or whoever gets them from the library I donate them to, will appreciate them as much as I appreciated them. Here's Lily by Nancy Rue. Same thing with the last books I just talked about. Nancy Rue is an author that was very influential to me when I was growing up. She is a Christian author who writes books mostly for girls in middle school or elementary school, and this is one of the books I love to death, and I'm still hanging on to it for the same reason. I have a huge problem with hoarding. I just never know when to let go of a book, and I think now is the time. Nancy Rue does write books for older audiences as well, so I still have a couple more of her books, but I just don't need this anymore. And finally we have Holes, a beloved book that everyone is saying, oh, you have to read this at least once. Everyone's read this at least once. And I read this 2 years ago. I finally gave in because supposedly everyone had to read this for school or something, but I grew up homeschooled, so I never got that chance, and it never looked interesting to me, probably because of the cover. But I read it, and yeah, it is good. I get why people are saying that it was a big part of their younger lives and all that. But I read it once, have no desire to read it again, watch the movie, and this is for a younger audience than me. I don't want to sound like I'm against middle grade, because middle grade is awesome. If something's targeted towards a younger audience, that doesn't mean I myself can't enjoy it, but it's not for me anymore. It was great when I read it. I'm done. As you can see, the shelf is now empty. I just put them all here to give you an idea of how many I had, and so I wouldn't have to keep holding them, because wow, I don't want to hold all those books anymore. But yeah, I'm now gonna have to fill in the shelf with other books that I do like and don't want to get rid of. Again, I'll be donating these to my local library or to my local used bookstore so that other people can enjoy them. That was my first book Unhaul. And I'm sorry if I was kind of vague with a lot of books and their plots, but we're not here for whatever the plots are. That's what I do on book hauls. We're here for why I'm getting rid of the book. What do I dislike about it? But thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Now all that's left is to repack all the books. No problem.